Welcome back to the show. Mental health is something more people are starting to talk about, and this next part of our show specifically addresses healthcare needs in the BIPOC community. It is a huge topic and it's ongoing, but this is a start. Author, speaker, and mental health advocate Richard Taylor Jr. joins us now. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hey, thank you for having me, Angela.
You know, we talk about mental health. What are some of the particular challenges that maybe folks in the Black community face?
I mean, where do we start, right? You look at the access to healthcare. You talk about the therapists that are available, right, when it comes to access, whether they can take clients right now or if they are culturally competent when it comes to what they're doing as well. We look at some of the socioeconomic issues that are taking place, whether that look like support or just access within those certain areas. But then also, too, we got to talk stigma, right? Stigma, I think, is probably one of the biggest barriers that we see when it comes to it, whether that comes from the what happens in this house stays in this house component. I know for a lot of folks who've grown up in religious backgrounds, right, you just take it up in prayer and that's it.
God's got it.
Come on, we can talk about it, right?
I don't need to do anything, but God's got it.
You have all of these different components around stigma. Definitely when you talk about, you know, I know we talk BIPOC, but even Black folks, right? Like, oh, that's a white person's problem. Like, Black people, we just got to tough it out. Our ancestors did it, and we got to do the same thing, right? And so it's a culmination of all of these different things together that really create it.
So what would you say to someone who has that recording in their head?
Yeah.
They think they might need help, but I don't know. What would you say to them?
I think first and foremost, you got to let them know that it's time to unlearn, right? I think a lot of things were said with good intent, but they were actually hurtful in the long haul. And so I think with that, we've got to be able to unlearn a lot of what we've been taught from folks who just weren't educated around the truth around it, right? We all have a mental health. Therefore, we all need to be able to invest into it so that we can be mindful of staying on the side that allows us not to have to steer into potential mental health struggles, issues, diagnoses, right? So if the investment is there early, proactive rather than reactive, we can start to make some of those changes. And so I think that we've got to be able to do the unlearning first and then start to make the better investment for our mental.
I love that. I'm going to use that. We all have a mental health, and therefore I need to invest in it.
There we go.
Yeah, that's perfect. You talked about cultural competence. How do you begin to find a provider who has that cultural competence? It seems hard finding a mental health provider, period,
yeah.
And then add on someone who's culturally competent.
Yeah, so I think that, I know a lot of times when we go into finding a therapist or a counselor, one of the things that we tend to do is we can walk into it treating it like an interview where we are the one interviewing for a job, right? And so in this, we just kind of go with the first thing that we can find or whatever is available. But I would actually say, let's backtrack and reverse that, right? We've got to be able to change that lens to say, how are you serving me when it comes to these needs? What is your level of understanding when it comes to struggles that might not necessarily look like yours or that might not have been yours, whether this come from a cultural standpoint or maybe an experience and background standpoint? I think those are highly important. And then I say you got to treat it like you would, let's say, a romantic relationship, right? What is the first thing that we're always told? You got to look for green flags and red flags. Typically, people look for the red flags first, right? And so in that, I would say you've got to be able to start being a little bit more aware of those flags, green or red, when it comes to the things that make you feel like, yes, I think this person makes me feel safe and I think they get it. But then also those red flags that say, that comment kind of makes me feel like you might not understand, and it's not a you thing. It's just that this won't be the right fit for me and where I am. And so I think in that, being able to take the time to treat it like that interview process where you get a chance to see those flags and figure out what works best for you.
So if someone's ready to take the first step or the second step, any advice, where should they go?
Absolutely. I think you got a host of resources, right? You can look at, I mean, just a simple Google search will show you what's available. What I love is, so I get an opportunity to sit on the board of directors for NAMI Eastside here in the Seattle area. And in that, you know, we have a ton of resources on our website. You can go to NAMI National. We've got some there.
And NAMI stands for? Just
National Alliance on Mental Illness.
Okay, National Alliance on Mental Illness.
And so in that, you got NAMI, you've got Mental Health of America. They have a ton of chapters, but there are a host of resources that they have available. And then let's look locally, too. We look at the Washington Therapy Therapy Fund. There are a ton of resources that we have here for individuals who might be ready. But let's say, for instance, you aren't at the space where you think that you're ready to go to therapy yet, right? You have groups as well, right? So some of the same organizations that I just mentioned, they also have group resources that are a little bit more on the community side, because I believe the power of community is important as well. And so maybe therapy isn't the spot for you just yet, but maybe you know that you need to start talking.
Maybe a group situation, a community
100%.
situation.
Absolutely.
I love your passion on this topic. Thank you
you
for advocating. I know you got another book you're working on.
Yep.
So thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, to learn more about what we discussed today and how Premera Blue Cross can help, visit the website on your screen or the link on New Day's website. Well, next on New Day, shining a light on the song Lift Every Voice Can Sing. It's known as the Black National Anthem, and the title created a little controversy during the Super Bowl. Well, I've got some historical perspective on this when we return.
This portion of New Day Northwest is sponsored by Premera Blue Cross.